you're in a class, it's near the beginning of the semester, you write an exam or you hand in an essay and you don't get the mark that you desired. Okay, so what are your options? Well, one option would be, so you've hit an anomaly, things didn't happen the way you wanted them to happen, and so maybe you say, geez, that was a boring and stupid class anyways, this gives me an excuse to get out, and so that's not such a negative thing. Or you think, oh well, I really better buckle down and study, and you decide to stay in the class. So basically what you've done is maintained your framework, I'm going to work through this class, but you've decided to modify some of the subroutines that make up that frame. You say, well, I should study more next time, or I have to prioritize this class compared to other classes. So it's a micro alteration within the overarching framework. But another thing you can do is say, to hell with the class, I'll just drop it. And so the advantage to that is problem gone. The disadvantage is, well, now you have a different problem, which is, okay, fine, you drop the class, do you have another class that you can replace it with? Is that a good way of dealing with a micro failure, you know, to move up a level of analysis and throw out the whole frame? Because you could also say, well, maybe I should just drop out of university and maybe I should go hang myself, you know. Well, it's the same line of logic, it's just taken up to a higher degree of abstraction. And so generally speaking, you don't want to solve a problem by moving up a level and wiping out the frame within which the problem was experienced. You want to do that carefully, because in principle the frame that you were working within you'd already assigned value to it and worked at it. You've already invested in it. It's a big sacrifice to blow out the whole frame. Now sometimes you can do it. So anyways, what happens is, well, you get the bad grade and you're upset about it, and so you've been plunged from your happy, satiated state, let's say, into a state of relative chaos. And the chaos is, oh, I hit an obstacle, I didn't expect it, and now I don't know what to do. And so what does it mean to not know what to do? Well, it can mean I need to study harder. It can mean I should drop this course. It can mean I should major in a different subject. It could mean maybe I shouldn't be in university. It could mean maybe my future plans have been formulated badly. It can mean my future plans have been formulated badly because I don't understand myself very well and I've been telling lies about my past, right? The thing can really expand on you. And that's what the chaotic domain is. That's the remanifestation of those things that you had considered irrelevant, right? Because when you go to pick up the exam, you've got your identity as a competent student intact. You're not questioning whether you should be in the course or whether you should be in that major or whether you should be in university. None of that. That's all in the implicitly accepted category. And as soon as the anomalous event emerges, all of those things that you had rendered axiomatic start to become questionable. And that's like the shark coming up from the depths to pull you down. And that's the classic way of representing that and of symbolizing it. That's Jonah and the whale, for example. So it's something is manifests itself from the deep unknown and pulls you under, like an alligator at a water hole, which is, I'm sure, one of the sources from which we derived that particular kind of mythological representation. Because you can imagine that when we were on the veldt, after living on trees, we had to go down to the damn water holes, and you've watched enough nature programs to know what a Nile crocodile can do to a water buffalo. It's not pretty. And so to go down to the water, the chaotic water, and the source of all life as well, right, is to risk an encounter with the terrible thing that lurks in the depths. And so we use that as a central metaphor for mapping the sorts of things that happen to us in a much more abstract space. And you know that because one of the things you're going to do, let's say that the professor, there's a professor obviously who gave you the bad grade. Okay, so one logical presupposition is that you're in some sense insufficient in relationship to the course. But another logical and instantaneous categorization is to throw that person into the category of malevolent predator. And you'll do that by becoming upset and cursing the person in your imagination. Cursing is exactly right, and I can tell you why. So, I don't know if I told you this or not, but primates of various sorts, like vervet monkeys, have predator alarm cries. They have one, if you look across a vast array of predators or primates, they have one for things that attack from the sky, and so those would be predatory birds. They have one for like cats that climb into the trees to get you, and that means hit the little branches because the cat can't be out there. And they have one for things that rustle through the grass, snakes for example. And so each of those produces a distinctive alarm cry. And so that's the same alarm, that alarm cry system is the same system that we use to swear with. We use short, guttural words. So they're archaic words because short words tend to be very, very old. And so and we have a separate system that utters those sorts of vocalizations. And that's the system that's disinhibited in Tourette's, which is why people with Tourette's swear. And so when you curse the professor for giving you the bad grade, you are using the same bloody linguistic system that your ancestors used to categorize snakes in the grass or predators that swoop down from the sky. That's very, very interesting. So, and people regard that as quite rude, right? If you swear at someone, then they'll be taken aback by that. They consider it insulting to be thrown into the arbitrary predator category. And so that also turns the world into a good versus evil story very rapidly with the oppressive person who's judging you, playing the role of, malevolent predator, and you playing the role of innocent prey, essentially. Very, very easy for that to happen. So, okay, so, where's my little clicker? So if the anomaly, if you can't, you might say, okay, so you're thinking through the fact that you didn't get a good mark on the exam, and you think, I don't know what I can do about that because I've already got 6 classes, say, or 7, maybe you're overloaded, you're working part-time, you're studying as hard as you can, and so you try to do a micro fix, rearranging your priorities, concentrating more on your studies, but maybe you're already operating at top capacity, and it's not easy, it's not straightforward for you to calculate how you might reconstruct your micro priorities so the problem goes away. So it's under those circumstances that it's reasonable to pop up one level of abstraction and to say, okay, I have to give something up. That's a sacrificial motif. I have to sacrifice something. What's it going to be? Well, maybe you can't afford to have the part-time job, even though that's going to put you under financial stress. Or maybe you have to hire a tutor, even though that's going to put you under financial stress. Or maybe you have to drop out of the course and only take 6, even though that's going to, say, delay your graduation for 1 semester. There's going to be costs. But so what's happening when you're thrown into the chaotic state by the anomaly is that the problem space magnifies itself, and you have to do a microanalysis, which is the best place to start. Let's look at fixing things that are subordinate to this frame, but you may have to leap up a level or 2 and fix something that's superordinate. So it may be the case that you fail 2 classes and one of your parents develops a very fatal disease, and so you have to go home and take care of them. It's like, okay, fine, too much chaos, bang, you're done with your university career for now. You have to go up a number of levels, blow apart that frame, and that'll alleviate the problem. Even though by letting all the snakes out of the basket, it causes all sorts of other problems. You're going to have to think, okay, well, what am I going to do instead? What does this mean for my future? And so forth. So there's definite cost to moving up the abstraction hierarchy. But the reason that a sufficient anomaly places you in chaos is because it makes all sorts of things that you've already considered alive again. And that can be extraordinarily chaotic.